everybody. Now, if you're from my makeup channel, you're kind of like, what's going on? This is mine and Stasia's new channel, and next week we'll be a little bit more together because right now we're still kind of like throwing around names. We kind of thought hair and horror or hair raising horror chat, which that may be what it comes up to be.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. But anyway, this is Stasia.
Hi guys!
And basically, we love horror. Almost every weekend we have a horror movie night. And we go through, look at Netflix, HBO, Showtime, all the movie channels, because we pretty much have them all, because we have zero care for the outside world. It's all about the TV, people. Come on now. And we decide on like what movie we're going to watch. Now we're pretty open to like all genres of horror, and probably there'll even be like some more like science fiction-y kind of thing, or thriller. But give me a good like blood and guts kind of thing. I'm all for it. She loves like possession and
like anything that has to deal with the supernatural type things.
Yeah, she loves that kind of stuff, which I do too, but I'm pretty much across the board. I just like it. So what we have decided to do is make this channel, and we're going to be kind of talking about the horror movies that we watch. Some of them will be more like real reviews. Some of them will just be us talking about what our theories about the movie is.
Yeah.
And when we just have like the theory ones, we'll put like spoiler warnings. Let me just say, this video, big spoiler warnings. Yeah. Because I really want this to be like a channel that has like tons of interaction in the comments. I would love to just have like big discussions about the movies. That is like one of my favorite things about horror movies, because it's very subjective. So I may see one thing in it, and she may see something else, and you may see something else. And this movie was a big one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think it's really open-ended. The movie that we're talking about is It Follows, and it was released March of 2015. It is now on Showtime, so if you have Showtime, go check it out. I actually found it like last night, watched it, and then I told Stasia about it, and I was like, you've got to see this. Now, what's funny is that watching it, I didn't pick up on a lot of the things, like the first time I watched it, I didn't pick up on a lot of the things in the movie, but I kind of pointed them out to her.
Throughout the whole movie, she kept pointing like, ooh, look at that, you need to pay attention to this.
Right, exactly. So I feel like I kind of like messed the movie up for her, but I also feel like it's a very interesting movie. Written and directed by David Robert Mitchell. Yes, I do have it pulled up on my phone because I can't remember. But basically, but basically the story is about this girl that is dating this guy. He's kind of new, and they engage in
intimacy.
Yeah, thank you. Activity. And as soon as they engage in this activity, junk just gets weird. It just goes from like, this is a normal kind of movie. It felt like someone did get killed at the beginning.
The very beginning.
The very beginning, which was a little, because I didn't understand what was going on until the second time I watched it, like what that whole scene was about.
I still don't think I fully understood it, even though she explained to me what she thought it was. It was
right. And I will say this movie is very like open-ended. It's very like, you can really interpret it how you want to, but as soon as they engage in activity, junk just hits the fan, basically. And really the premise is that you catch this demon, ghost, apparition, haunting, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Kind of like you catch an STD. And originally,
it follows you.
It follows you. That is what it does. So
either way, demon, ghost.
Yeah, it really doesn't tell you what it is. It really doesn't. And there's some things that it definitely has I would say like rules, like it can't go through like walls.
Yeah.
It can't go through walls like a normal ghost does. So is it a ghost, but it just has like ghost rules that we don't know?
Yeah, and also really like the person would like be asleep or pass out and it wouldn't even touch it.
Yeah, that
So-
was another thing. Like, because there was
Yeah.
several scenes that just really didn't make sense to me. Like, she was in a wreck at one point and kind of got knocked out. So that whole time, because the ghost wasn't that far away from her at that point, but it didn't get her. And then she was in the hospital and it didn't get her. And at no time when she was asleep, which I would think that would be like the prime
Yeah, it would be
getting
like
time.
a good time for it to get her.
Yeah, because like if you think about, there's a lot of like horror movies where part of the horror is you can't sleep or it will get you. And I kind of thought that's where this was going,
Yeah.
but it didn't go there. I definitely think like it's a good thing to say like whatever this is, it definitely has rules that it has to follow. I'm kind of trying to give like a little synopsis of the movie without like completely blowing it, but we are definitely like spoiler alert.
Yeah,
we're
we
going to talk about
already established in the spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. So, basically, I thought when I saw that this movie was, okay, you kind of get this apparition like an STD, I kind of thought it was going to be a whole movie about, like, making sex negative. And that really wasn't what any part in the movie I didn't think. Because no one ever says, oh, you're a slut. There's no like, sex shaming in it.
Yeah.
And basically, like, people are saying, you know, like, why don't you go and give it to somebody? I mean, there's some of that. So I really appreciated that they did not make it that movie. Because, I mean, there are movies that are like that. Like, I would definitely even say, like, Contamination? Contagion? Something like, there's, like, a movie where, like, it's a sexual transmitted kind of thing and you turn into a zombie. But, and that was kind of like...
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
I mean, not in real life, but
no.
movie-wise.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that one too. But yeah, so it didn't become that movie. What it became to me was that definite like you can't get away from something.
Yeah.
Like something is chasing you and you never can get away from it. It became that kind of movie versus like don't have sex or you're gonna die kind of movie.
She has like a group of friends and at first they kind of want to believe her but yet they really don't. They just keep following along with her and they didn't really believe her until one scene where they actually see her hair being pulled up and like one of them gets thrown across by something and that's when they seriously believe her.
Yeah, and I should also say that the guy that gave it to her had given her a false name, and like part of the movie they did like track him down.
Yeah.
And he didn't really know the person that had given it to him. It was someone that he met at a bar. Supposedly, I wonder if he didn't know the first girl in the opening scene that got killed. I'm not positive. There was like a picture of him and a girl, and I kind of think...
I did not even think about that.
Yeah, I kind of think that girl, he may have given it to originally, and it went back to him, and then he went back to this girl. I'm not positive because, like, the pictures, it wasn't like, it didn't go in clear, but to me, that was kind of what I got.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Did that just blow your mind?
That actually makes sense though. Like we like know who.
Yeah,
like,
because it really didn't make sense
Yeah.
in the timeline of where that girl fit in.
Nothing in that timeline made sense.
Okay, yeah. So that's a whole nother thing is that I don't even think that the first time that I watched the movie that I understood what was going on. There was one girl that would have been like the friend that always been on their phone. But she had like, it was like...
she shell.
It looked like a she shell kind of like powder makeup.
I was confused about that and then like I noticed other stuff that was like out of time and yet there was some stuff that looked way into the future like the she shell phone.
Yeah, because it was like, it was like an e-reader.
Yeah, but
and
it was like a phone.
Yeah,
too.
at one point, well, she never called anybody on it.
No, but like she would only.
But it would have been like what you used to find. Like at one point, she used it as a flashlight. She would read stuff. Another thing, there was no cell phones besides the e-reader thing, the little clamshell thing. No one used cell phones. There was like rotary phones hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
And she's probably never seen that. I grew up with that as a little kid. I mean, I'm talking like under 10, that was on the wall.
Yeah.
And like their houses, the inside of their houses looked like 1970s.
TVs were old fashioned too.
Yeah.
Like,
so there was like a bunch, like the timeline, the time didn't make sense. The seasons. Like there, okay, so everything looked really sunny. And the grass was like super, super green. But then at times there would be like leaves
on the ground.
Yeah.
They would be wearing heavy coats after they just got done swimming at the beach.
And it wasn't skipping ahead. It
was like the same day.
Yeah. It was just very strange.
Yeah.
But I think they did it that way because the whole movie, you kind of felt like creeped out. Even when you were never seeing like the thing coming at you, you were creeped out. And I thought it was really kind of ingenious.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really read it the first time, but I knew it was creeping me out. And I did see the clamshell. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Where can I get one of those?
Yeah, so they found the guy who had lied about his name.
Yeah.
And he basically said he had got it from a one-night stand. And that if she could give it to someone, or if she gets killed, it goes back to him. So
he was kind of encouraging her to pass it on.
Yeah, he was.
Because I think he really did care.
Yeah, he
about her.
I mean, he legitimately seemed like a nice guy.
Yeah, he warned her. He told her like all the rules and stuff, and I guess he just couldn't take it anymore, and so he passed it on to her and was just like trying to encourage her to pass it on to someone else so they both could be free.
One good point is her friends couldn't see it. Now, he could see it, and anyone that had been infected previously, they could see it, but her friends couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting thing. And it also could appear as different things, and also at times appeared as people that they knew or cared about.
At the beach scene, when the one that I mentioned earlier that grabbed her hair, it took the form of her best friend with the seashell phone.
Right, who was in the water actually.
He was in the water,
there.
yeah. But like since they couldn't see it, they were like at a disadvantage. But luckily at the end they like figured out a plan. Just throw a towel over it.
Yeah, that's the thing is that at one point they did like throw a blanket over it, and it had a shape.
It had a shape.
So it has a form, and even like when they hit it with a chair.
So calling it a ghost really wouldn't like.
Yeah, it's not like a ghost. Like definitely it has like a matter in it. Yeah.
And ghosts, when you say ghosts, you kind of think, oh, these spirits that can walk through walls. Well, no, this thing can't walk through walls. It has to go through doors or climb through windows. And like, of course, like how it woke up the person she infected with it, it kept banging on the door. They don't really say nothing. They just kind of...
Yeah, it never said anything. I don't think it can say anything.
No. And it doesn't run after you either. It just like walks slow. Mm-hmm. It's slow but not dumb.
Yeah, that's what they say in the movie. I will say that I don't think that it's walking every single mile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think for whatever reason, it gets to some point, you know. And I don't, there's some talk that it may be part of franchise, and so we may get a second part. That would be great, because I think that it's really needed.
Hopefully it would explain some more stuff.
But she does like infect her friend Greg. So there was, in her little friend group that went off with her, there was 2 boys, her sister, and then her other friend.
Yeah.
And Greg, who is her across the street neighbor, wants to sleep with her to get it away from her. And he is the one that doesn't really buy what's going on.
Yeah.
Because he was on the beach when everybody else
was away from
it. But he was like, he had his back turned. So he kind of feels that maybe something going on, whether it was like in her mind, and her mind's just playing tricks on her. But he thought like they could sleep together and things would be better. And what is weird to me is that he doesn't see it for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, he doesn't see it.
There's nothing going on. And she pretty much saw it within you know, whatever.
The same, like,
yeah, the same, because
like the
that
day
guy
after.
put him, well, it wasn't even the day after, because
Yeah.
like when he put her in the wheelchair.
Oh yeah, he like immediately showed her.
Yeah, like the guy that
was.
infected her, like tied her up in a wheelchair and showed it to her, and he was like, you know, I'm not doing this to hurt you. I really want you to know,
Yeah.
you know, that this is real. And which is one thing is why I think that he was like a nice guy. I mean, it's awful what he did, but
Yeah.
I mean, he tried to at least like warn her. Greg, unfortunately, doesn't believe what's going on and kind of dies. I'm gonna kind of not like talk about that because I don't really feel. I mean, that's pretty much.
That was
like,
actually a disturbing
It was
scene.
Yeah, it was a disturbing scene, but I just mean like we can kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And I prefer to talk about or like have conversations about stuff that's open ended. I mean, we know Greg dies. We know how Greg dies.
Yeah, and like,
it is kind of strange to me that it doesn't show up for so many days. Like I don't know why. I don't know why that was you know, that, because I think the last time we saw him it had been 4 days.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was that night or if it was the next night.
I don't know.
Another thing I find interesting is that in all the movie there was a lot of water. They were at the beach a lot.
She was swimming.
They were in
there
several
was pictures of her swimming.
Right. So I'm not really sure like what the symbolism about water is. And I would say there's a big one that I would really love to know. If you've seen this movie and you have an idea of why, but there is a scene where she's like swimming and then like Greg dies and then she goes to a beach where we think that she may have infected someone else.
Yeah, because
there
was like a boat of 3 guys and all you see is her stripping down to her underwear and her tank top-ish shirt and swimming. And then it cuts to her driving in the car with her hair wet. And
yeah, so we don't actually know if she infected those guys or if she didn't infect those guys. I feel like she infected them, or at least one of them. What do you feel like she did or didn't?
I feel like she did because, like, in the later scene that you mentioned, when they're driving to a pool, she sees it on her roof and she starts crying. So, like you said, I think she infected them, or like one or all of them, and since she sees it at her house, she realizes that, oh, they died, and because of her, somebody died.
So you don't actually see her doing anything with the guys on the boat. It's just kind of implied. So let me know what you think. If you've seen the movie, do you think she did infect one of the guys on the boat?
Let's hope you saw the movie because we said a whole lot of spoilers.
Yeah. Yeah, don't watch this if you haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
So when it kind of shows her house after that, her pool is destroyed.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, like, I don't understand, like, why is her pool destroyed? And did she destroy the pool because she's angry? Did it destroy the pool? Although you really don't see it being very destructive.
Yeah.
Until, like, I guess the end.
The end when it starts throwing
Yeah, because it does throw stuff at her at one point. But you don't see that. So I would like to know, like, what your thoughts on why the pool is destroyed.
Yeah.
The kids decide to... So she has one guy friend left, and her sister and her friend. They decide to go to, I guess, their community pool. Now, there's a part right here that I don't understand. They talk about, like, their parents always told them not to go past a certain point. And then you see, like, a lot of abandoned buildings. And I'm not sure, like, what the symbolism on that is, except, like, I mean, I guess it's a bad part of town. But I'm pretty sure that it was put in for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure... You know, what the reason is. And maybe the third time I'll watch it, I will understand what that symbolism is. And I guess basically they are going to electrocute this entity. And what's funny to me is they have like power strips, which was not available, I don't think, until the 90s. I mean, maybe in the late 80s, but I think the 90s.
Yeah.
But they have like all this old technology. Like they have typewriters. They don't even have computers. And I just think it's hilarious. And like the old, big, heavy, square TVs that y'all have probably never watched. It starts throwing stuff at her, and it's really the only time we've ever seen it be destructive, unless it did destroy the pool and we just don't see it. And what I find interesting is that it's her father. Now, I didn't know that originally when I watched the movie, but the second time I watched the movie, you actually saw like pictures of her dad. Now, her dad is not in the movie because at some point he has died. Now, if you look online, people are kind of theorizing that he killed himself. So in the pool, they throw the blanket over it and shoot it in the head. It goes into the pool where it's like going after the girl. It's still alive. And so the guy's like shooting at it and does hit it where it stops. So this is the second time it's been hit in the head. And it is bleeding, and they get her out of the pool. And I think this is like one of the scariest scenes because I'm like, I would just have left. I would not have like looked in the pool. I wouldn't have like thought about looking.
I wouldn't have like leaned over us.
Yeah, like she literally like crawls.
She crawled over to the pool
and
leaned over to see if it was still there.
And to me, like, I am a fan of jump scare movies. And had this been a real jump scare movie, what would have happened? It would have grabbed her head and like pulled her in the pool.
Because it had the perfect opportunity.
Exactly. Like if
her whole head was just leaning over, she was just
if it had wanted to be a jump scare movie, that's what would have happened. And then you like drag me to hell. Like it just, all of a sudden she's talking to her boyfriend and then she going to hell. That's what would have happened. When she looks over, what she sees is like this big menacing blood, like, and it's kind of weird looking, like it's bubbling up. Also, another thing, like to me, it would have like came out and grabbed you, So I think it could be interpreted that it's dead, and I think it could be interpreted that it's not dead. How did you think it was dead, or did you think it wasn't dead?
I still think it's alive. Because, like, it survived fatal gunshot wounds before because, like, the beach, it got shot, and then it just fell down and brushed it off. And then it also got shot in the head once. It fell into the pool and was alive again. And another shot to the head, I think it would just be like the rest. It won't kill it.
And I definitely think that based on the rest of the movie, I don't think that it would have been killed by a gunshot.
No.
We've seen it get shot before.
Get Sam Medine.
Yeah, like get Sam Medine. It hasn't, I mean, it even had a headshot wound, because you could even say like, well, maybe it just had to be shot in the head. It had already been shot in the head, so it's not like it hasn't. Also, I think there are actions after that. So basically we go and see that she has a chair propped up underneath her door, so, it can't get in a door. And her and her other guy friend, who I can't remember his name. Do you remember his name? Paul.
Yeah.
Are engaging in the same activity to give it to him.
Yeah.
So I don't think that they would be doing that
unless they wanted to.
Unless they knew that it was still there.
Yeah.
And then the next scene you see is like Paul driving around and he's looking at prostitutes, which is another kind of like thing where you don't see if he...
You just kind of like
guess.
Yeah,
so there can be like questions. Did he sleep with a prostitute?
I think he did because it looked like he was pulling into the parking lot. Because he kept like turning the wheel instead of just like holding it still to drive forward. So I think he like paid a prostitute to have sex with her so they would then give it to the person they had sex with.
Which is kind of genius, but I mean it's bad because I don't think he would have been like, oh, something's going to be chasing you.
Yeah.
I think they were just like fingers crossed, hopefully like she has another client.
Yeah.
After that.
Think about if like he gives it to her and then she gives it to her next person. Client, yes, I forgot the word. Client, to her next client. She would be safe. She probably wouldn't even notice anything since even though she can see it, it doesn't go immediately after her. So really it's just like another day, like any other day.
End is Paul and Jay walking, holding hands, and there's someone like back
walking
in the distance
behind them.
And is this a person or is it the entity? And I think it's a person. I don't actually think it's the entity.
I think the director just did that just to like mess with us. Like, hey, he thought they were safe.
I mean, and it could be. The only reason why I say it's not is because every time that we personally saw the entity, it was either naked or wearing something white.
It was,
and this
person...
person...
the grandmother, she was wearing a, like, pink, white nightgown, I think.
I thought it was white.
I thought it was pink and white.
Well, it was still, like, it was light colors.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know, like, the first time that we kind of...
Hear about it,
it's wearing a yellow dress, but still yellow is light colored.
Yeah, so it's like either naked or wearing a light colored.
Yeah, so, and I know the guy that was walking behind them looked like he had on a black jacket.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I mean, it could be not, who knows.
Yeah.
I know that one of the theories is that Jay and Paul are now going to be monogamous with each other, so they give it like to each other back and forth to confuse the entity. So it would make sense that the entity would be close to both of them because it would be attached to one of them, but that they keep changing it back and forth to get it so confused. Which I think is an interesting theory.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I can't say that I think that's what it was. Yeah. There's also a theory that I've read that because they were wearing white, but even though they had jackets,
I don't like
that they are now the entity themselves. And I kind of like, I don't believe that. I saw nothing that would indicate that. They were able to talk. They had interaction. They were holding hands. They were looking at people. I just don't think, for me, that one doesn't work.
I really don't like either of those theories, even though the first one would make sense. It's a good idea. It's just, I kind of like the idea that, you know, like, first plan was a success. Like, he gave it to a prostitute. And
so you think he gave it to a prostitute?
Yeah, I think he gave it to the prostitute, and then she gave it to her client before she either saw it...
Or you think that's what they hope happened, anyway?
Well, that's what I think, like, it worked, and they also hope that happened. But I don't know how prostitutes get busy in their schedule. But I'm pretty sure that she's going to get another client before the night is over. So they were like, she would, like, pass it to that client, and then he may or may not give it to his wife.
That's awful. Like, that's so bad.
Keep that in there, please.
But you have to think about this. So, like, if he did give it to a prostitute, the prostitute gave it to a client. The client went home to his wife and gave it to his wife. Then you have to have, like, then his wife would get killed, and then it's gonna keep going back. So, but when it gets back to the prostitute, she could give it to somebody else.
She just keeps giving it and giving it.
So, I mean, technically, that would be a solid plan. I mean, but you have to also, are they capable of being that calculating and saying, I don't care how many people are going to die from this? So, I don't know. Like, I kind of think that that's probably what happened. And the reason why I think that is because they are kids. And it seems like a very kid plan. Like, I think as an adult, I would be like, okay, let's go and talk to, like, paranormal people. Let's go figure out what this thing is to get it stopped. And maybe, like, that would be a second movie, what they're doing. Me as an adult, like, that's what I would do. I would, like, kind of research it and try to figure out, because you do have some time, because it is slow. It kind of sucks that you're the only person that can see it. But I will say, with them joined up, because I do think it definitely, the end shows that they're a team. Both of them can see it. I don't know, did we say that when the person, when it affects someone else, you can still see it?
Yeah,
I think
we already
did say that. Okay.
That.
So, I think, like, now they're definitely a team. Both of them can see it. so maybe they both feel safer. You know?
Yeah. Because, like, if they're asleep and, like, one of them stands guard, that makes sense because they both can see it no matter who has it or not. And so they could, like, warn the other person and then they could escape from it.
Yeah, I definitely think, like, they're safer now. Whatever plan. So I kind of throw out the thing, I do not think that they are the entity.
No,
at all.
I don't like that theory.
I think they just happen to be wearing white. I think
Yeah.
the director just kind of wanted to, like, leave it like that. Like, that would have so many, like, open, unanswered things.
Yeah.
It's not like... Because there are some horror movies that are just so unanswered that you're just like, what the heck? I mean, I actually like some of those, though, but it still drives you crazy. But I do like the ones that kind of make you think, and this one definitely makes you think. So I would definitely say, if you haven't seen it and you've watched this whole thing, go watch it anyway, because I definitely give it 2 thumbs up.
And also make sure to tell us what you think down in the comments.
Yeah, I definitely, like, that's what I want on this channel. I definitely want, like, discussions, okay?
Yes, we want interactions with you.
And me and Stasia both will get on. We're gonna make probably a Tumblr.
Yes.
So if you, she's like the Tumblr girl. So more than likely, if you do interact with us on Tumblr, she would probably be the person you interact with.
I'll be managing the Tumblr, and she'll be managing the YouTube.
Yeah, probably.
We make an awesome team.
And I don't know why I just threw a piece on. Thumbnail! Definitely, like, let us know if you've seen this movie. What you think. I want to know why her pool's broken. I want to know, do you think the creature's dead? I want to know what you think is going on. Did she sleep with the guys on the boat? Did he sleep with a prostitute? Did, you know, they give it to somebody else? Is it the thing following them? Do you think they're the entity? Even if you think they're the entity and we definitely don't, we want to hear why you think it's the entity.
Don't change your theory just because of what we say. If you believe they're the entity,
let us know why. Why? Because maybe you'll change our thoughts.
You'll change our mind. And also, don't forget to recommend some horror movies that you would like us to review.
Bye, guys. We will talk to you later. And remember, don't have sex with random people because it follows.